What is on my shirt? What is on my shirt? It's something. Water, I hope. All right. Yeah, I'm live. Isn't that crazy? Who thought that was going to happen? Not me. I did not think that was going to happen. I thought I was banned. Damn, Henry's on that fast. Like, really fast. It might be the fastest anybody's told me to turn that damn light on. All right. Yeah, it just came right on. It's awesome. It'll probably be on for a total of 3 minutes, but it's on now. That's what matters. All right. Oh, what did you do now? Oh, yesterday I got kicked off for hate speech and hateful behavior. But then I appealed it because I wasn't doing that. And they said, oh, no, you weren't. So they let me back on. What's up, Larry? You got your stuff today. That's good to know. It was outstanding. Now we should talk about in the Roman Empire. I don't really study the Roman Empire that much just because, I mean, I like it. I watched the show on HBO, I think it was Rome. It was a great show, super fun. But it wasn't because of the Romans. It was because of the personalities. It's just great personalities. But yeah, I don't study Roman stuff too much because it really isn't that ancient. I mean, I know that sounds odd because it's thousands of years old, but the reality is it's not like I don't study modern history except for, obviously the beginning of the United States. But other than that, I want to study things like Göbekli Tepe or Karahan Tepe. Look at that. Well, they actually put me back on today. That's kind of crazy. I'm actually on live on TikTok again. Who knew? Let's see. He was a giant, by the way. Good or bad news? Let's find out together, shall we? I have not looked at Zero Hedge today. Just been sort of watching what's going on with this comedy of errors, this election thing. Everybody wanted to raise, okay, now the price of everything goes up. So what does that do to Dick ran out of room. Why do people keep betting against Elon Musk? It's just a good question. Buy gold. Simon Hunt warns of imminent global conflict. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Let's see. Word Salad City. Harris Town Hall in Philly goes as bad as you'd expect. Oh, it was terrible. My God, she had Anderson Cooper on there serving her up softballs. And wow, some of her answers were actually funny. I mean, like really funny. What's up, man? Yeah. The one about, what would you do differently or what, et cetera. And basically she said, look, we've done a lot. There's a lot more to do. Joe Rogan and Trump, it's going to break the internet. Oh yeah, it sure will. There's no question about that. But yeah, she said that that there's a lot that's been done, but there's a lot more to do. But what's been done is good, but there's still more to do. Okay. Well, thank you for the very, very specific answer. To my untrained ears, it sounded like, yeah, it sounded like bullshit. But yes, I got a new bullshit button. I'll be using it quite a bit in the future. Let's see. Ukraine troops increasingly refusing orders. Desertion rates explode. Prosecutor's office opened 51,000 cases of desertion in the first 9 months of 2024. That's sad. It was Maximus Thrax was the tallest. See, that's the thing. If you know that much about the Roman Empire, then there's really not much to learn. Where's the mystery there? Everybody knows about Rome. We know about basically like everything that they did, including now that they've uncovered Herculaneum and Pompeii, and they found like graffiti on the walls of the bathrooms. Yeah, public bathrooms, and they have graffiti on them where it's like one legion is making fun of the other legion for being a bunch of sissies, and it's hilarious. Like Rome was basically just like this. Somebody got censored. Dan Coons got censored, and it says, because I like to read the censored stuff, we are the modern day Rome in its last cycle, totally decadent, and then the fall. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, it actually had stuff like that. By the way, Freebird, it really did have things like for a good time call, such and such, but it would have like a Roman centurion's name, but it was like, instead of call, it was like, for a good time, this guy. It was really funny. It's, and that's the thing. I'd love to tell you that we've evolved since then, but we have not evolved since then at all. We still fight meaningless wars over money. And there's enough money, enough resources to go around for everybody in the world. And we just simply have groups of people who don't want to share it. So they hoard it. And then people in other places starve to death. What? Like, really? Why do we do that? Well, that's just what we do right now. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to talk to smart people. And I got to be honest with you guys. I was shocked to find how many smart people are on TikTok. Because, it had a bad rep, especially 4 years ago when I joined. It was like, oh, yeah, it's just a bunch of teenage girls dancing around braless in their pajamas. No, there's some of that, I guess. I don't get it in my feed anymore because I didn't watch it. So they said, oh, you don't want that, huh? What do you want? Oh, you want to watch the conspiracy people. Yeah, some of them. And then, of course, I also wanted to watch lots of sciencey stuff. So I get lots and lots of science stuff. Very cool science stuff. Graybeard Vet, welcome. All right, so let's see. North Korean troops in Ukraine are fair game to attack, White House warns. Really? We're going to attack them? Why are we attacking them? Why? Like, what the fuck is going on over there, man? Really? Conspiracy only conspiracy until the truth comes out. Yeah, we call them spoiler alerts now. That's what they should be called, because no matter how crazy they are, they just seem to keep coming true. Some of the looniest ones, when they told me the first time somebody told me about digital currency, a central bank digital currency, they said, yeah, CBDC. And I said, what the fuck does that stand for? And they told me, I was like, no, that's never going to happen. Yeah, that's going to happen. There's no question that's going to happen. Let's see. U.S. and Israeli spy chiefs head to Doha to restart Gaza ceasefire talks. Well, that's positive. I'd like to see that happen. UN report. 900 women have lost 900 medals to transgender athletes, resulting in increasing numbers of female athletes losing opportunities, including medals. That's true for a lot of athletes. That's their life, and that's how they make all their money. And, if they don't get endorsements because they're not they're pinning on the holy war. It's exactly what it is, and it has nothing to do with us. Look, these two tribes have been at war for a long, long time, way, way, way before this country was founded. So, and I get it. There's a lot of people that are saying, well, we absolutely have to help out. And my question is, why? Why do we have to help out? Mike Poe 3, vote sanity, not Trump. Okay. So my question is, why did we send $250 billion to Ukraine. And why did we send, I don't know what, we sent $5 billion this week to Israel? Why? Why are we in these wars? Hello, Albie. Let the holy war price. I think you need to turn your bell checker on there, Mike. Ooh, somebody got Mike for real? Yeah, I know. If you look up Anton LaVey, Satanic Church, the fifth degree of it is called MAGA. Wow, I'm getting some spicy goons tonight. That's great. Yeah. Well, obviously that's what MAGA stands for, is satanic rituals.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
No joke. No, I'm sure that NASA was probably used as an acronym for something else before it was NASA, and the FDA stands for the Federal Devil Association. Come on, man, seriously. Kamala is no better, though. Well, the thing is, from strictly an economic standpoint, Kamala is not even close. I don't want to be at war. Period. That's it. I don't want to be at war. Look, the United States we've got our own problems. And I get it. The CIA was created, the Corporate Intelligence Agency was created so that we could stay at war all the time and have hundreds of thousands of well-paying jobs in the defense industry at the cost of everybody else. Well, not really sure, but I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. So, we got one guy saying, hey, day one, I'm going to stop these wars. I will get these wars stopped immediately. And on the other side, we've got a Democrat from the hippie party who's supposed to be anti-war, but they're not anymore. They're saying, hey, look, we need to send more money to Israel and more money to Ukraine. And Ukraine's saying, hey, man, we either need to join NATO or get nuclear weapons. What's it going to be? That was Zelensky's demand last week, was, hey, one or the other, because, you guys who have nukes don't get attacked, and you guys who are in NATO don't get attacked, but we got attacked. Yeah, after 8 years of ethnic cleansing. You can't just run around killing ethnic Russians in the Donbass region, women and children, without somebody getting upset about it eventually. Putin's been upset about it for 8 years. Literally, 8 years he talked about, hey, you guys, we got to do something about this. These are Russians and they're getting killed and this isn't cool. And of course, I get it. The Ukrainians don't like Russians. But Putin can. Can what? No, I didn't get, I got thrown in jail for last night, but apparently I'm out on parole. Apparently they reviewed when I appealed it, they reviewed it and they said, oh, he wasn't hating on anybody. He was just saying that there's some odd shit going on. And apparently they agree with that because there's some odd shit going on. So let's see. Ooh. Wow. San Francisco, the city itself, the municipality, was hit with a credit downgrade over commercial real estate apocalypse. That's going to keep happening, folks. It's going to just get faster and faster and faster. AIPAC will decide what wars. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, why do they have so much influence? How come they're the only group of people who represent a different country that aren't foreign as far as their registration? They're not registered. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Let's see. People are back and demanding beachfront houses days after Florida ravaged by hurricanes. Okay. Oh my God. The McDonald's where Trump worked hires private security after deranged leftist threats. Armed guards clad in bulletproof vests are protecting the staff. That's sad. You want to buy some silver? All right. Well, I can help you with that. Text me in the morning, and I will help you with that. JFK warned, wanted them registered. Look what happened to him. There are some groups of people you just don't mess with, apparently. Although I will say that Kennedy did sort of pick fights with all of the deep state at the same time. And it was a brand new deep state at the time. You'll know them by their fruits. There's always a left that goes crazy and has brainworms. It seems to be them right now, for sure. There's no question about that. Like, I know that Hillary Clinton once said that the greatest danger, as far as the United States was concerned, was domestic terrorism, namely veterans. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually saw her say that in an interview, and I thought, wow, she's really unhinged. That's the veterans, the guys who went and defended the Constitution and thought they were fighting for our country. Yeah. Oh, I get it, because when they got screwed and shafted when they got home and their PTSD was treated with 2 Tylenol, extra strength, they became disillusioned. Is that what you're saying? I've got a great idea. Why don't you treat them better? Remember the list that Janet Napolitano made up? Oh my God, Janet. Whew. Yep, I remember. Let's see. Inflation and social decay. Doug Casey on rising prices and falling values. Inflation upsets the entire basis of civilized society. I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those deplorables. How much of the Trump victory is priced into the markets? I'd say quite a bit at this point. Let's see. What else we got over here today? Traders buy everything they sold yesterday. Oh boy. The real gold price is the highest it's been since January of 1980, which means, of course, adjusted for inflation. And what was it in 1980? It was the highest it's ever been. You're going to watch Trump on Joe Rogan's show tomorrow. No, I'm going to be picking up a bunch of silver, a whole ton of it. Not quite a ton, actually. It's pretty close. Yeah, actually, it's 3/4 of a ton. Damn, that's a lot of silver. Let's see. Stock up on these medications before Kamala bans them. What is this? Oh, it's an ad. It's for ivermectin and a bunch of other things that you can get that you can store at your house just in case. Yeah, that's a lot of things. It's too much thinking for me. Let's see. Wow. Huh. Completely fabricated persona. Doug Emhoff, alleged assault victim, speaks. Emhoff, quote, slapped me so hard I spun around. Well, wouldn't that be weird? Somebody pretending to be really sweet that's actually a demon in real life. Do you ever buy land? No. I figured out why they wanted out of there so bad. It's extremely cold. That's the coldest spot in all of Colorado. And the crime rates in the nearby towns has just soared in the last few years, which I know. You say, well, it's soared everywhere in the last few years, but specifically towns that are close to it, not interested. But now I understand why they had, 10-foot razor wire fences all the way around their greenhouses. Is it plated silver coins? No, they are actually silver. They're the real thing. Crime rates are way down. Mark. Oh, Mark. apparently you were listening to Rachel Madcow and you didn't actually see what the FBI just released, which was, actually crime rates are up, not down. Yeah, it was actually a 6% swing because they said they were down by 4.7%, but they were actually up by 1.6%. Yeah, crime rates are up everywhere. No, I looked at the FBI report. Okay. Did you know one economist out there that doesn't say Trump will put us in and don't worry, Mark, I'm going to come back to you in just a second. I just want to see what massive recession. My God. You really don't do any homework, do you? Do you know what the Somme rule is? Because it was triggered already. We're in a recession there, dingbat. We're in a recession now. No, that's true. Any idiot who can count can look at that. Let's go ahead and put in Somme, by the way, is SAHM. Let's see. The Somme rule is a recession indicator that predicts the start of a recession when the unemployment rate increases by a certain amount. It's never been wrong. Going all the way back to 1960 when they started it, it's predicted the last 9 recessions when it was triggered. It's been triggered. We're in a recession, period. Now, you can say, oh, well, that's not true. That's not true. No, that's not true. That's not true. But let's see. We see this there. His economic plan is just horrid. Then you kick out all the migrants out of every restaurant, every construction company got out of business. Wow. That's amazing. You didn't come up with that bullshit by yourself. That was fed to you by a spoon. Let's see. True, why you guys won't feel the... This is amazing. Yeah, it's the definition of a recession is when the GDP goes negative for more than 2 quarters. If it goes negative by more than 10% for 2 years, that is a depression. I know, I've studied econ for 35 years. Trump would cause a recession. You obviously just tuned in. You don't realize we're in a recession. That's just, I don't understand. To go down so we can control inflation. It's not going down. Look, yep, and every economist, really? What about Peter St. Onge? He's a PhD, he's a professor, and he says that it is completely out of control. As a matter of fact, you probably don't know this because, well, look at what you're writing, but the Fed cut rates by 50 basis points. Normally, when they start cutting rates, they cut rates by 25 basis points. When they cut by 50 basis points, the last 3 times they've done it over the last 18 years, it's been the sign of a recession. So they cut it by 50 basis points. And what did interest rates do on credit cards, car loans, and home loans? They went up. Now, do you know why, Mark? Can you tell me why they went up when the Fed just cut rates? Commercial real estate, like you mentioned in the past. Oh, so commercial real estate is the reason that they raised the rates on home mortgages. What was the cause of the recession? Spending. Printing too much money. That's it. Printing too much money. Now, this one's a little more complicated because we also have a huge drop in employment. Our employment numbers are absolutely fucking terrible. That's the reason they dropped their... Well, I didn't even finish reading it. I don't even think it matters right now. Spending adds to our Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Oh. Spending on what, Brian? It's not just spending. You can't just say it's spending. What world are you living in? We have record low unemployment. Record low unemployment, huh? Is that true? Let's see. Unemployment rates. Let's see. Oh, 4.1%. Wait, but that's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's not low. Boy, and caused inflation to get out of control. And why did he handle COVID that way? Who came up with the idea of lockdowns? Was that Trump? Who came up with the idea of social distancing? Was that Trump? Who came up with the idea of masks? Was that Trump? No, Trump took the advice of his trusted advisor, Tony Fauci. The World Health Organization, a wholly owned subsidiary of China, obviously. Let's see. Total unemployment rate. Now, I'm going to go to the U.S. national debt clock, and I'm going to see what they say that the actual unemployment rate is, because it's never the same. Headline numbers are always wrong on purpose. And I can prove that they're wrong on purpose because they never revise them up, do they? They always revise them down a month later. Oh, I don't think he's running for boyfriend. I think he's running for president of the United States. There's a big difference. Let's see. U.S. unemployment. Bankruptcies, foreclosures. Wow. This is U.S. workforce, 161 million Americans. U.S. workforce in the year 2000, 161 million Americans. The amount of people in the workforce hasn't changed. That's interesting, because in 2000, we had, 270 million people in this country. Now we've got 335 million, and the workforce hasn't gone up at all. As a matter of fact, the numbers just came out. What are foreclosures at? Well, glad you asked. Foreclosures are going up very quickly. U.S. foreclosures, we're at 123,000 right now. And the real estate market, according to the American Association of Realtors, is officially the worst real estate market since 1995. Let's see. That must be a government. No, it's not. It will be updated in 10 or 20 years. Nope. Voted for the World Health Organization would have the power over our. No, they actually blocked that. They were not cool with that at all. They are in red states, by the way. Who are in red states? Real estate foreclosures are going up in Texas and Florida dramatically. Oh, only those two states, huh? Is that true? Kamala will just print more money if we need it. Had quite an argument over that. Oh, they're just the worst right now. I see. I think I probably could guess why. Florida, for the most obvious reason that it was just whacked by two major hurricanes and Texas because that's where all the Californians went because they couldn't stand their left-wing idiot policies. So they all moved to Austin. And guess what? They made the real estate market go completely crazy. I remember looking at it in 2014 and thinking, God, it's gone up quite a bit. Well, that's just not how it works. It doesn't go up forever. Thoughts on BRICS recent meeting? It means that we're in deep, deep shit financially. That wasn't the reason the jobs went there. Okay, why'd the jobs go there? Mm-hmm. No, the pandemic was a man-made disaster. That's a little different. We actually blew that so out of proportion. If you look at the death rate in Sweden and you look at the death rate in the United States, they suffered less than we did. They didn't lock down at all. They didn't have vaccine mandates in Sweden. Really, that's interesting. Right to work states. That's why. They don't have enough regulations. I get it. If you don't have enough regulations on workers, then you can't make money. We need more regulation. I agree with you, Mark. Oh, Ray, I'm sorry. That's too bad. Ray had to bail. He just can't handle my shit. Well, that's okay, because you know what? I get it. Free speech is a little tough for some people to swallow. But that's what we're doing here. The thing is that as a Democrat, I would just regurgitate Rachel Maddow all night long. But as a libertarian, I actually go and do the research myself all day, every day. And I come to my own conclusions. And I see what they're lying about every day. And I see the real numbers and I go, how did they get from that number to this number? Oh, I see. They did this, like the CPI. The reason they call it the CP lie is because literally they just keep changing it, adding and subtracting things from it. If the consumer price index reflects inflation, and we don't include things like food or fuel or rent or housing, what exactly does it cover? Like what exactly are we, like, energy? That's not included anymore. So clearly we have a problem, because what they're doing is they're cherry picking numbers to try to make it look like the economy is better than it is. Right now, our national debt is $35,800,000,000,000. Now, I know you said, wait a minute. Last night you were just on here. You said that it was $35,700,000,000. Yeah, we've spent almost $100 million since we talked last night. Do you think sending $5 billion to Israel is easy? We sent $5 billion to Israel. Now, how much did we give to the people in North Carolina and Florida? Well, let's see. FEMA got $12 billion allocated to them last year. They really had to pull some teeth to get it, but they got it. They got $12 billion. And Karine Jean-Pierre said that they absolutely do not fund illegal immigrants. But then they played a press conference with her last year saying that any municipality or state that would like to apply to FEMA for funds for people who are seeking asylum, that's what the money's there for. One of those two things has to be a lie. I know she remembers. She's not stupid, so she said last year that the FEMA funds were available for people who were seeking asylum. And all that states and localities had to do was apply for it, which they did. And now FEMA has actual Americans that need money and they don't have it. And the way that it was put by one reporter in a press conference last week was, we can't give money to people in North Carolina and Florida until Congress comes back in session. But we don't have to have Congress in session to approve $12 billion going to Ukraine and $5 billion more going to Israel. Why is that? And she said, that will be all. And she walked away from the lectern. That's what happened. I watched it. You can watch it. You can go Google that. So there's a problem here. There's a very big problem. Obviously, I'm glitching on TikTok. I wonder why. I'm lagging. That's right. I wonder why I'm lagging. Well, it's that. Plus, it's all the world thinks we have an unlimited supply of money. Where they found graffiti in bathrooms in Pompeii, written on the walls. How funny is that? Yeah, it's. I'm sure it's an accident. I'm sure that it's just a coincidence. Let's see. Let's see if I can make it work, since I'm glitching so badly at this point. Because it's cheaper and there's one of, they call it right to work, right to work. Well, that was a word salad. Now, I'm not really sure what the hell that was, but that was a word salad. All right. I'm going to have to restart my live stream on TikTok because this isn't working. Yeah, I know it's lagging. Oh, that sucks. Oh, there we go. Now everything's okay. As soon as I stopped it, that's weird. As soon as I stopped the fucking live stream, boom. Come on now. As soon as I stopped the live stream on TikTok, my Wi-Fi went back to 100%. Isn't that crazy? What are the odds of that? 100%. Okay, now let's do it again. Let's go live. Okay. Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't think TikTok's going to go away. I think that they're threatening that, but you know, as long as you let them censor it and let the proper people win, they'll let it go on forever. It's just a matter of not allowing the wrong people to get on TikTok and say things. That's what it boils down to. TikTok was interesting because they used to spy on us, obviously, but they didn't censor us. Now they don't spy on us, but they censor us. I'd rather have them spy on us, personally. I mean, I don't mind somebody spying on me. Well, what are they going to find out that I'm not willing to tell them anyway? I'm not trying to hide anything. That's the interesting part. I'm not trying to hide anything from the Chinese. I want the Chinese to understand how we think, because when the Chinese truly understand how we think, they will truly not want to go to war with us. And I don't think they really want to go to war with us anyway, but I will say this. Right now, because their economy is collapsing so badly, desperate people do desperate things. And Xi may do something crazy just to stay in power. So that is something to definitely keep your eyes on, folks. And of course, North Korea sending troops. I don't know what the hell that's about. That's a very odd thing. Unless because they blew up all their roads leading to South Korea, they might be giving some of their guys combat training. Think about it. Where better to get combat training than in Ukraine? Because that is some nasty ass combat right now. By all accounts, it looks like Ukraine has lost approximately 700,000 troops. They're now actually getting people who are disabled and putting them in the army. They've lowered the age of conscription, the average age a year ago was 49. The average age of a soldier was 49. Now I can tell you, having been a Marine, it's not a young man's game. I mean, it's not an old man's game. It's definitely a young man's game for a couple reasons. Number one, by the time you're 49 years old, you figured out that war is basically horseshit. It's not worth it. But number two, you're just not in the kind of shape you need to be in, you know? So it is what it is. I think that China is still dangerous, but I think North Korea is over there learning from the Russians, just in case they decide that they want to do something crazy with South Korea. Now, the question, of course, is after Trump called him Little Rocket Man and threatened to rain fire down on his entire country, he then went over there, shook his hand, met with him, and what did we hear from him after that? Not a peep. Not a peep for 2 more years. We didn't hear anything. Why? Because what a third world dictator like that wants is somebody to recognize him. That's what they want. They just want somebody to recognize that, hey, I've got a country here and I'm powerful. And Trump said, look, I will annihilate you. But if you want to talk, let's talk instead. That's pretty clever. And that's exactly what happened. We didn't hear a damn thing out of North Korea after Trump met with him. Now, was there some kind of backroom deal made where Trump said, look, man, let's tone down the rhetoric here. Let's step back from the edge because, if you're getting froggy, we're going to jump. However, we just as soon, have you give us a list of things that you desperately need. We can be friends. Boom. Next thing you know, all of a sudden, there are people talking about peace between South and North Korea for the first time since the 50s. All right. Oh, the wilderness, they censored you for saying Trump's the man. What are the odds of that? People say good stuff about Trump on here all the time, and Kamala Harris, and they don't get censored. You, on the other hand, got censored for that. They just don't like you. I'm gonna say that you. Let's see. Korean soldiers, North Korean soldiers. Yeah. By the way, interesting book. Just finished it last night. Robert Ludlum, The Prometheus Deception. It's a very interesting book because it was released in the summer of 2001. And what it talks about, nice to see someone with half a brain, thanks, man. What it talks about is a group of tech wizards and intelligence people getting together and creating false flag terror attacks so that they can sign an international understanding for the sharing of more personal information. It came out in the summer of 2001, before 9/11. And it literally details exactly what's about to happen. It literally gives the blueprint for what happened after 9/11 with the Patriot Act and everything else. You guys find that a little odd that somebody dreamt up the craziest shit they could? A secret group called Prometheus who decides that they're going to secretly pull the strings of power, and through bribery and coercion, they're going to get all of the different governments in the Western world to sign up for an international terrorism thing. And then they, all of a sudden, just before it gets voted on, within a few months of that, there are terrorist attacks all around Europe. All over Europe, there are terrorist attacks. And boom, there it is. Now, I don't want to give the ending away, but I can tell you this. When I read it, I got almost to the end before I went, wait a fucking minute. There's nothing interesting about this book to me now, because like, yeah, it's like you're writing a pseudonym of history. And then I went and looked at the date it was published. And it was published in the summer of 2001, before 9/11. And I thought, oh shit, this guy nailed it. Like, he literally predicted exactly what was going to happen. So the question is, when somebody does something like that, when he comes up with his wildest, craziest idea of high tech and intelligence communities merging into one, and just a few very, very, very wealthy people in the tech industry siding with intelligence to take away all of our privacy, and then it comes true. Well, like, what are we going to write now? Like, how crazy can you get? What kind of crazy bullshit can you come up with that isn't going to be true in 10 years? That's the road we've been heading down for 25 years now. Democrats and Republicans doing the same shit over and over and over. Now, I do remember an interview with Chuck Schumer, a Democrat from New York, who said to his interviewer, I believe it was 2020, it might have been 60 Minutes, but I think it was 2020. And he said, it's really interesting that Trump came into office and he alienated all of the intelligence community. He said, I think that was a very big mistake. And she said, why do you think that? And he said, well, because I can tell you one thing about the intelligence community. They don't forget, and they don't forgive, and they will get him. This interview is years old. It's years old. It was done when he was president. The intelligence community will get him. Makes you wonder. Have the same goal to Zelensky, Putin and Zelensky have the same goal, to extract massive wealth from the West. That's an odd thing to say. I don't understand what your meaning is there. I'm in North Carolina. How can receive small amounts of silver? Shit, man, I'll bring them to you. You're in North Carolina? I'm just that crazy. How much you want? Said text me in the morning. My number's in the bio. If you're in North Carolina, I don't get. Normally it's 100-ounce minimum, but you know what? Fuck it. I will actually hand you the silver in about 2 weeks. I will come there, and because I'd like to take a look around too. I'd like to see what's going on in North Carolina, because you've got one side saying, oh, they're just a bunch of sissies, shut the fuck up. It's there's no recession, everything's great, job market's better than it's ever been, economy's booming, and we just got a bunch of lazy assholes who say things are tough, but things are not tough. That's literally exactly what John McCain said in 2008 when the market crashed. And people were like, oh my God, we are in a recession. He was like, it's a recession of lazy people. He said that right before the election. And I thought, oh shit, he just lost the election. Is it still flooded there? I don't know. They're not going to extract wealth from the West with bricks. They're simply going to destroy the wealth of the West with bricks. Money laundering, billions being sent from to whom? Yeah, well, there's a lot of that going on. They had great floods in the mountains. That's what I understand. That's what I've heard. I've heard it, and I mean, I saw the videos of the water coming by, and I thought, I've seen. You got it, Bob. Call me in the morning. I saw the water, and I've been around floods. I was a combat swimmer in the Marine Corps. I know what water acts like, and I know even when it doesn't appear to be moving fast, it can be some deadly shit. So when I saw the videos, I listened more than watched, because I had to make sure that they weren't sped up, because the water ripped through some of these places so fast that I thought, look, flash floods, that's a West thing. And I've grown up in the western part of the United States. I've seen flash floods, and they are very fucking dangerous. They don't move like that. Like the wall of water that came through some of those towns was literally that. It wasn't, hey, look, there's water running through the street. Hey, it's getting deeper. Oh shit, we better go find high ground. It was a roar that came down the valley with a 6-7 foot wall of water moving it. It looked like 40, 45 miles an hour. If that's the case, man, that's people have a hard time understanding what water can do, but you know, it's crazy. 3 dams in the same system gave way. Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Wait, you still do military grade obstacle courses? Not really. Not unless there's a really, really hot girl on the other end. Then yes, I would. I'd make it look like it was really easy. Let's see, with logs and trees and all. No, not unless not unless there's got to be a good reason. 40-foot wall of water. Jesus, if that's true, man. I mean, that's literally what happened to Japan. Except their wall of water was actually, it was between 40 and 60 feet high, and it just absolutely destroyed all of those cities. You are slacking. Yes. Oh, I am definitely slacking off. I got invited November 10th. Oh shit, that's right. I got to be back by November 10th. That's my birthday. Well, my Marine Corps birthday. November 10th, I'm gonna go watch one of these crazy ass things where these guys, they're a bunch of spec op guys. They're already fucking got a screw loose in their head, and they're gonna be doing a 50-mile hike with 45 pounds on. Then they're gonna swim a couple miles, and they're gonna, I don't know, fucking chew nails and piss fucking fire or some crazy thing. But I'm gonna be there to let's see, I'll be watching. November 7th. It's a good day. It's a good day to have a birthday. Yeah, it's you know, I mean, hey, I might do something crazy like the Spartan race. I won't put the Spartan sticker on my car because why brag about it? But number 2, because it's a potentially violent domestic terrorism threat symbol. That's actually true. Have they updated death toll from 250? No, they won't do that for a long time. They won't do that for a very long time. Unusual pollution in the water, radioactive, worse. Well, you know, that's the thing is we don't. What were they doing in those valleys when they were out in the middle of nowhere back in the 50s, testing rockets or whatever? Who knows? Will you be bringing silver? What the heck would I do with it? I don't know where you are. That's, you're going to need to know that for sure. There are some good ones. West Virginia and Utah, both places that are a long ways away. Oh, well, yeah, if you're in Cave Creek, heck, I got some silver right here. Got more silver over here, got bars, got rounds, got all kinds of stuff. Just sitting here. It's collecting dust. It shouldn't be. There was an article on Kitco that bricks could revalue to $150,000 an ounce. Well, yeah, I mean, the article on Kitco, though, was actually, it was based on the idea that if we wanted to wipe out our national debt, if we wanted to go from 35 trillion 800 billion to zero, we simply revalue gold. Now, gold right now is statutory price. According to the government, can't make this shit up. It's $42.20. Why $42.20 an ounce for pure gold? I don't know. But if we revalued it to 150,000, then boom. No, Donnie, we can't. Especially if you've got a Hellcat, which I don't have yet. Nasira. I'm gonna look that up. Every once in a while, somebody jumps on here and says, "What do you think about NESARA?" And I don't ever, but maybe I should. NESARA. The National Economic Security and Recovery Act is a set of proposed economic reforms for the United States suggested back in the 90s by private citizen Harvey Francis Barnard. Claimed that the proposals, which included replacing the income tax with a national sales tax, abolishing compound interest on secured loans, and returning to a bimetallic currency, could result in zero inflation and a more stable economy. Fuck, he was totally right. I don't know why I didn't read that before. That's absolutely correct. Literally, that is 100% correct. Did he say getting rid of the? Yeah, he didn't go after the Fed, but since the early 2000s, NESARA has become better known as the subject of a cult-like conspiracy theory, whose original promoter was internet personality Shanine Kansas Goodwin, better known as Dove of Oneness. Goodwin, who appropriated the NESARA notions without Barnard's consent, claimed that the act was actually passed with provisions as the National Economic Security Reform Act and then suppressed by the Bush administration and Supreme Court. Goodwin's conspiracy emails were translated into several languages. Adherents of the theory have also been using the name GESIRA, Global Economic Security Act, in order to extend the proposed NESARA reforms outside the United States and to the rest of the world. Yeah, good fucking luck on that. Global, really? We can't get people to agree on measurements. Is it a gallon or is it 3 point blah 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 liters? I don't know. Is it imperial? I don't know. What's a foot? Well, a foot's based on. Okay, well then what's a meter? Well, a meter is based on a percentage of the Earth's circumference. Oh, global is happening. No, it's not. No, that's impossible. How can you have BRICS and the US petrodollar? They're diametrically opposed. They are literally opposed to one another. So there's no global anything there. That tax is worth looking at, has been for 50 years. Yeah, absolutely. Unless you apply it the way Canada does. The dollar is toast. Not this week. Global has been happening since the end of World War III. This is World War III? Oh, World War II. Okay, I was wondering because I was thinking World War III. What are you talking about? That shit's just kicking off now. Like we haven't even gotten through round one. This is a 10-round fight, baby. So if this were football, we'd have about 14 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter. I've been hearing rumblings about Bank of America having some big troubles right now. Oh yeah, they have some huge troubles. I was not aware of this. I was not aware that they were the largest bank in the United States. I thought it was JP Morgan Chase because of assets under management, but apparently it's B of A. And they are really up shit creek. They're looking at $680 billion in losses divided by 5. Divide that up however you want. London Bridge has fallen. You realize that the London Bridge is 100 miles from here. It hasn't fallen. It's right here. We have it in Lake Havasu. So when the banks fail, there has to be a reset. Yeah. It'll be a central bank digital currency. Right. So that never happens again. So the Fed has more control over economic policy and they don't have to fight with the banks over what to do. Yeah. How does that have anything to do with a global, what was it? Global Economic Security and Recovery Act. Nobody wants to go with us on that. Yeah, there's always going to be a central bank because we'll allow it. No, silver won't fail. Of course not. All debt wiped out? Really? I want you to think about that for a second. The wealthiest, greediest men on earth are going to allow all of the peasants to just walk away from trillions of dollars in debt. 2 trillion just in credit cards. Not to mention home loans, not to mention car loans, not to mention student loans. Oh, that's 1.5 trillion. Yeah. Oh, it's a reset where the richest fucking bankers in the world are going to go, you know what? We decided that we've made too much money and we like you guys. So don't worry about it. If we accidentally send you a bill, just tell us to, rethink our position. That's ridiculous. Like insanely ridiculous. They are losing their control. You keep telling yourself that. One more straw to break the camel's back. They want the Great Reset. We will no longer exist. Well, no, I think that might be a little over the top there, buddy, but all debt wiped out. It's called bankruptcy. You can't wipe out student loans. You know that, right? You're aware of that. You can claim bankruptcy, but you can't write off your student loans ever. You have to pay those back. No, apparently this is one rabbit hole that I've been able to stay completely away from because so far it makes no sense. The corporation is bankruptcy. Klaus Schwab, George Soros. Well, I mean, these are, you're naming off some interesting people, no question about it. But, Klaus Schwab is a fucking clown. The idea of Davos is very simple. Rich people get together and they sort of jerk each other off philosophically. They get extremely expensive prostitutes and they drink and do drugs in a very, very private setting where there are no cameras allowed. Right. So we all know that you can't do bankruptcy with that. I think literally and not just philosophically. Yeah. How long do we have to pull our money out of B of A? Knowing what you know now, knowing that the wealthiest investor in the world, I mean, let's face it, there are wealthier men now than Warren Buffett. But as far as just sheer investors, like all he's ever done is invest in other companies. It's not like Elon Musk where he started a couple of insanely successful companies. He invests in other companies. He just sold all of his Bank of America. No, it's not like he had, $10 million worth. He had $34 billion worth and he dumped it. Oh, Dimitri, Jesus Christ, you only come on here to say things that sound dumb? Do you know what an insider is? An insider is someone who owns more than 10% of a corporation's stock. I'm an insider in a company. If you own more than 10%, the moment you sell, you have to report it because you're an insider and people might want to know why you're selling it. Once you drop below 10%, you can sell all of it and not tell anybody. So you think he has 9%. Why would you sell off all of it except for 9%? You wouldn't, would you? You'd sell it off a little bit at a time until you got to 9.99%. Then you could dump it all and nobody'd know. My God. Come on, Dimitri. Who's funding what? I don't know. I definitely will inform my mom. Yeah, I mean, come on, that's a thing. I mean, I get it. Look, Dimitri, if you're not a stockbroker, if you're not a trader, you probably didn't know that. Most people don't. But as an insider, if he owns more than 10%, he has to tell people the moment he sells it. But once he gets below 10%, he can do whatever he wants and he doesn't have to report it. I mean, he'll report it in his quarterly earnings for Berkshire Hathaway, but that's months from now. We're talking about the Dempsey dumpster garbage can fire that is the United States economy. Well, really the world economy. National Association of Realtors just announced that this is the worst real estate market in terms of sales that they've had since 1995. They announced that today. And you think, wow, that's terrible. Guess what? Not nearly as bad. Not nearly as bad as China. Their real estate market has now officially dropped by over 6% year over year. It is dropping like a rock. And the only wealth in China is real estate. Do the numbers, check them out. Our real estate market, I'll tell you right now, because commercial's all that matters. Residential's just silly. Residential doesn't mean shit. Commercial real estate value US. Okay. So our real estate market was valued at $22 trillion. Let's see. This is down 7% over the previous 12 months. Office values declining by 14% overall. In GDP. Whew, this is going to get ugly. Okay. Let's see. How much of our GDP? Percentage. Oh, shit. I got to put that in. By percentage. By. Okay. Wow. Holy shit, guys. This is worse than I thought. We were younger. We partied in an empty factory. Oh, that shit. That was like back in the early 2000s. All the kids that lived in Russia, shit, they would go party in like half empty nuclear plants that had never been finished. Okay, so let's talk about this. We have a $22.5 trillion commercial real estate market, which accounts for 9% of our GDP. Okay, that real estate market is collapsing. Absolutely, completely, utterly collapsing as we speak. Period. Fucking period. Nobody should come on here and say something stupid like, oh, no, it's going to be okay. What was I told you guys a month ago about shit. What was the bank? UBS bought a building for what was it? $384 million, and they sold it about a month ago for $6 million on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. What the fuck is going on? It collapsed in 2007 also. Yeah, not like this though. Why are they destroying America? You mean the banks? Because that's what banks do. That's what banks do. That's what usury is. That's what happens when banks take over and they start charging enormous amounts of interest. They make billions or trillions and we lose everything. Where do you think their billions and trillions come from? Our hard work and sweat and tears. That's where it comes from. Period. So we have a $22 trillion real estate market, and it's approximately 9% of our GDP. That puts us in a very dangerous situation. Well, you're going to have to read about that yourself. I can't talk about that on TikTok or I'll get banned. But there have been several nations over the course of the last 2,500 years that have gone in and stopped banking completely. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it, the French did it, the British did it 2 or 3 different times. The United States of America has done it a couple of times. We've gotten rid of our central bank, but you know, these are wealthy people who are very, very skilled at manipulation. It's what they do. Oh, what's this? A banned comment. Will Woods. All right, what do we got here? If you look at the way the Federal Reserve is set up, it's designed to fail. Right. How about converting commercial real estate into residential? Can't do it. It's impossible. It's not designed that way. You can't redesign it without spending literally trillions of dollars on it. U.S. is going to end up like Rome. Well, we already are. Now, here's my point. You think our economy's bad? The Chinese real estate economy is $36 trillion, and it accounts for 16% of their GDP. And it is in absolute free fall right now. How do you always try to instill fear? Isn't that obvious? Do you not understand what's going on here? Look, you have a job. If you guys want to throw up what you do for a living, just go ahead and toss them up there. Private banks are still insured by the FDIC. I want you guys to throw up a couple of your career paths. What do you guys do? I understand a lot more than you do. Well, prove it. Let's see. HVAC. Okay. Hard job. Very hard job, especially in Phoenix. Okay. Farmer. NP. Don't know what that is. Electrician. Okay. Power industry. The reason I'm asking this is because if you guys are good at your jobs, garage doors. I almost killed myself with a fucking garage door. So I get it. Retired electrician, janitor. One of the most underrated jobs in the world, but a good job. Nurse practitioner. Okay. In the mafia. Okay. Good job. Let's see. As long as it lasts. Tree service. All right. So here's my point. This is why I ask you that. Because in order for you guys to be good at your job, you have to do your job all day. And you're at your job all day. And for some of you, like plumbers, an apple grower, there are times when you're working long ass hours. Carpenter. Okay. Wait, what did that say? Retired archaeologist. Oh, we got to talk, big boy. Let's see. Diver. Oh, that's a cool fucking job. Like commercial, like welder diver, because that is really hard. Demolitions. That's what I do. Well, that's what I did in the Marine Corps. Demolition. Interesting. Fun job, actually. It's hard. And it's extremely technical. Rancher, oil field lease operator. Jesus, some hard work. Commercial diver. Let me tell you something. Commercial divers, that shit's no joke. You get one mistake. That's it. You get one mistake and your career's over because your life is over. Oh, that's cool. Demolition, baby. Love it. So here's what I say. You work your ass off, okay? And in his case, let's say he's a commercial diver. You're done with your day. So what do you want to do? Decompress. I'm sorry. It was low-hanging fruit. I just fucking had to take that. So he wants to decompress at the end of his day in stages. The Benz are a bitch. So what do you do when you get home? Do you jump on there and go to the Federal Reserve? No, you don't. But you should. You should go to the Federal Reserve of St. Louis and start looking at all their charts and graphs. And at first it looks like fucking gibberish. But then you decide, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this until I can make sense of it. So you start Googling different things. Like when they say, well, what's a good one? Okay, inflation, CPI. Then they say core inflation. You're like, core inflation? Wait, inflation's inflation. No, it's not. There's core inflation. Well, those are the things that are really, really important. And core inflation hasn't gone down in the last 51 months. Well, wait a minute. What were the rate hikes were to kill inflation? Yeah, it didn't work. So then they cut rates, right, which is going to stimulate inflation. Well, wait a minute. So what did we go through all that pain for? Fucking great question. What did we go through all that pain for? So it's because I didn't go out in the sun for the last couple of days. Trust me, I'll be orange again soon. Who else is going to do it? Good point. Full-time home wrecker. You must be good looking. Beach bum. I like it. That's what I'm going to be. Did you buy gold when I told you? Did I buy gold? I started buying gold and silver in 1988. So you were probably a pup. Oh, wait. You're a girl. I can't tell. It's fucking the pictures are this big, so fucking rich people. Wait a minute. Didn't you just say you're a diver? Shut up. Commercial divers make fucking $100 and something an hour. If you're a commercial diver, you make like $150 a year minimum. And that's as a noob, that's as a dipshit, because they don't think you're going to survive. But you actually do it for 15 or 20 years, trust me. I was a combat swimmer. First thing I did was I looked into underwater welding because I grew up welding. I love welding. I just love the idea of building shit with a fucking flame. It's like, cool. Yeah, $25,000 a month. Holy shit. Fucking rich people. That's funny. They don't know how to tie their shoelaces. Okay, but here's my point, Dimitri. While you guys are doing whatever you do, okay, and you're working your ass off and you get home, you're tired, the last thing you want to do is look at charts and graphs and then see what the headline news is and then go find out if it's true by going to several different websites, several different economists, and comparing notes with all of them and seeing why they say what they say and seeing if maybe there's a flaw in their logic or if they're just like covering something up. They're just not counting something, because figures never lie, but liars always figure. So I have to go in and find out, are they telling the whole story, or is this just another lie by omission? So I usually do that for between 6 and 10 hours every day. That's what I do. I sit here and I go through charts and graphs. And when I'm not doing that, like after my live stream, I'll be off work finally at 10 o'clock. You know what I'll do? From 10 to 2 a.m., I'll be on here reading about the EMP Commission's findings about what happens when the power grid goes down and what they've done to fix it. Now, has anybody tried to fix the power grid? Yeah, actually, there's one bill that was signed 6 years ago. Who was in office then? Trump. He actually signed a bill for the United States federal government to spend billions of dollars hardening the grid against EMPs or solar flares. Not bad. Now, that's not enough. They need a lot more. Smart guy, look up Dr. Scott Young on YouTube. All right, Dr. Scott Young. Let's see. I stay at home, homeschool teacher. Oh, man, that's awesome. Amber, you're the shit. That is very cool. You had me at homeschooling. I used to spend at least 20 hours a week after my job on due diligence in investing. Okay, well, the investing is part of what I do. That's part of it. That's the swing trading part. But I only spend probably an hour a day on that because I already understand it. I understand how to use Bollinger Bands, and I understand RSI and MACD and all the different things, and the 200-day moving average and resistance, and when it's overbought or oversold. I understand all that shit. So I don't have to study that anymore. That's back there. That's just shit that's just floating around in my noodle. What I do have to study, though, is I have to study in order to find out where the economy's going. Because if the economy's not going to go to hell in a handbasket, I'm not going to be in fucking silver. Why would I do that? Why would I try to convince you guys to buy something that's not going to go up in value? Now, I think my track record speaks for itself. When did I get into silver? 2020. Look at all my videos. That's when I stopped talking about my hobby, which is ancient archaeology and lost civilizations and all that cool Indiana Jones shit. And by the way, Steven Spielberg owes me fucking big time, because when I was a kid, I was working with my dad, who paid me $20 an hour under the table back in the early 80s. He paid me a lot of money. But what I did was very technical too. So, it was something that most grown-ups couldn't do. And that's why he hired me, because he ended up firing so many people, like grown men who were supposed to be trained in it. So he said, fuck, you're better at it than they are. I'll just pay you. So one day we're working together. We're working in a county office building. I look across and I say, Dad, that movie that I saw the thing on TV about, it's out. And he goes, what movie are you talking about? And I said that the Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's out. Can we go see it? And he goes, well, looks at his watch. He goes, well, it's Saturday. I'll tell you what. If we can finish this up by 4:00, we'll go see that. He looked out the window. He goes, we'll go see that 4:20 movie. I said, all right, let's go. What are we standing around for? He got a good laugh out of that, and we hauled ass. We finished everything up. We had a couple minutes extra. We went across the street, and I watched the movie. I walked out of that movie theater, and I said, man, walking up the sidewalk with my dad, we're walking back to his truck. And I said, man, wouldn't that be wild if something like that really existed? And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, well, like the Ark of the Covenant. Like, can you imagine if that was real? And he looked at me and he goes, I guess you really haven't been to church much, have you? And I said, twice. Why? And he goes, well, according to the Bible, the Ark of the Covenant's real. And I said, what? I stopped. And I said, what? And he said, well, I don't know if it belches fire to heaven like that, but the actual Ark of the Covenant, what they showed, the representation of it, that's a real thing. And I said, well, holy shit, where is it? And he looked at me and he goes, you fucking dummy. Did you not just see the same movie that I saw? And I went, yeah, why? And he goes, Lost Ark? And I said, what do you mean lost? He goes, nobody knows where it is. It's never been found. I thought about it for a second and I said, well, I'm going to fucking find it. And he looked at me and my dad was really good with this. He looked at me with a little bit of a grin and he said, good. I hope you do. He wasn't joking. He wasn't being sarcastic. All right, the gauntlet's been thrown down. That's it. All right, well, go find it. He always told me, anything that any other man on this planet or woman can do, you can do. I was like, okay, I'm going to go find it. Unfortunately, I think Graham Hancock found it before I did, which is really disappointing because I really wanted to try to find it. It's in the Pope's basement. Well, I see why they censored that. That is just insubordination, young man. Interesting live. Well, thank you, Gen X. I love it, baby. I'm Gen X too. So, yeah, the Ark of the Covenants does exist. It's a real thing. And it's in Ethiopia. It's in a church in Axum. Who knew? Well, a lot of people know now. But back when I read about it, back in 1994, it was quite the revelation. It actually ruined my life because I've been literally studying that nonstop since then. So I don't know whether I would punch him in the nose or give him a big hug and kiss on the cheek. But Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, has changed my life forever. I guess actually they worked on it together. So, but yeah, it's one of those where, like, once you see something like that as a kid, you're done. Like, what else am I going to do that's more exciting than hunt for lost treasure? So what I'm doing now is I am funding my insane lifestyle by helping people make money. Look, if you're smart, you can make money and make other people money at the same time, or at least provide a product or a service that helps people. And if you can do that, that's a perfect life. Like what could be better than that? What could be better than making a lot of money and helping people at the same time? When your head hits a pillow, man, when my head hits a pillow at night, I'm out. I'm done. I don't toss and turn. I don't have nightmares. I did have a nightmare once. Can't remember what it was about. I used to have nightmares when I was a kid all the time. But, if you know about my my tragic backstory, you know why. It was not a fun childhood. However, made me who I am. So, it's one of those things where you can bitch about it all you want, but the reality is you are who you are because of your experiences. Let's see here. Oh, what's this? FDA recalls North Korea. Why they thought I would want to know about puberty blockers. What's up here? Puberty blockers. Weird. Let's see. Rodney, how are you? Tony, good to see you. 6 people on my YouTube. Now I get it. There's about 400 on TikTok. That will change. Actually, I don't think it's ever going to go to 6. But at some point, I will have just as many people on here every day. And the cool thing is, you can go and watch these later. Once I start the podcast, that's going to be very interesting. Okay, what's going on? Nothing's changing again. Jesus, are they doing it again? Really? Because my Wi-Fi is at 100%. Everything's strong. The force is strong. Yeah, it froze. Son of a bitch. What's going on? The lag was bad. What do you do? I mean, what can you do? I guess I can just wait. Yes, it is. Yes, it is good. Okay, well, let's just talk on here. Since TikTok is frozen, I can say shit that would get me kicked off of there. Unless the AI can still hear me even though they're frozen. Do I want to take that risk? Well, what the hell? Why not? Because the thing is, I teach people about safety all day, every day, buying gold and silver and being safe and all that stuff. No, it's not lagging on. It never lags on YouTube, which is odd because YouTube is on my Wi-Fi, just like TikTok is, and yet TikTok always seems to be laggy. Let's see. Let's turn that off, whatever that was. Wait, turn off mobile data. You won't be able to use any apps or services. Oh, we'll cancel that. Oops. Huh. Yeah, the fact that these super democratic, weird governments all over Europe are flooding their countries with Islamist extremists. Is that an accident? Is that what's happening? It's just an accident. They don't realize that these people are going to come here to this whatever country, say France or Germany or England or Norway, Sweden. I mean, just pick one. And they're going to go, oh, you know what? We hate your society and we hate your values and we don't respect you. And we're going to set up our own little piece of society over here in this slum, which is going to be a slum because we don't pick up our own trash because that's your job. And we're going to harass you and commit violent SA types of attacks on your young women in public in broad daylight, 6 or 7 of us at a time. And what are you going to do about it? That's what's going on over there right now, every day, every single day. Or some crazy Islamist will grab a knife and he'll, kill 4 little girls celebrating Taylor Swift. How does that end, guys? We all know how that ends. How does that end? Because when the economies implode and there's not enough food and work to go around, things get desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. So I don't see that ending well. I think that people talk about civil war in the United States all the time. Not anytime soon. I don't think so. Europe is a fucking powder keg and it's about to go off. What happens when Europe completely disintegrates into chaos? Well, we're next. We're pretty soon. We're at right after that. What happens to Russia? Not a damn thing. They don't have any of those problems. And why? I don't know. Seems like they don't import problems. And Poland does not have those problems. And Romania, I believe, is the other one who will not. And Belarus, they don't allow immigration anymore. Wow. So the question is, why can't everybody get along? Because if you move to somebody's neighborhood and you violate all of their rules and regulations and beliefs, and then tell them that if they have a problem with it, then they can do something about it, there's only so long that they're just going to take those threats idly before the shit hits the fan. That's what's going to happen. Pretty much guaranteed. So, what time is it? It is 9. All right. So about it. Oh, I've been on for an hour and a half. All right. So I'm going to end the live stream because this is frozen up. It's not coming back. This is not coming back at all. I can see that. So what do you do? And the bottom line is that, I think I went over pretty much everything. I'll leave that. It came back. All I had to do was turn off the Wi-Fi and turn it back on again. Wow. I can't believe that it's lagging really bad. So I shut off my Wi-Fi and turned it back on again. And here we are. You guys didn't get to hear any of that stuff I talked to YouTube about because I can't talk about it on TikTok. So while you guys were listening to me not doing anything, I was actually doing something. I was talking about stuff that you can't talk about. Are we anti-immigration today? No. We are super, super pro-immigration. Absolutely. I'm anti-asshole immigration. I'm anti-immigrants that don't play by the rules and try to destroy you. Yeah, those are not really immigrants anyway. They're what we could call invaders. See the difference? Guy from, let's say, I don't know, pick a country, India, or I don't know, Botswana. He wants to come here because he's always had a passion for engineering, and he understands that there are a lot of opportunities here for that. So he comes and, first of all, he applies for a visa. Somebody in the State Department used to look at that and go, oh, engineering student. Yeah, we could use engineers. We're a little short on those. And then boom. Well, Venezuelan thugs that's a little different, as well as some of the other people from other parts of the world who just, don't have our values. Let's just say that not only do they not have our values, but they find our values repugnant. They can congregate and make their own cities. Well, yes and no. I mean, there are people who, I agree about the values. Yeah, there are people who want to assimilate. They want to move to the United States, and by God, they want to be Americans. And you see them. You see the guy that's from Japan who's wearing an American flag on his shirt, or the guy who's from India and he's driving a 64 Impala convertible. And you say, hey, nice car. And he says, yeah, it's an original SS with a 4-speed. It's like, wow, how do you know that? Because I'm an American and this is an American car. Oh, so you're proud to be here. You're proud to be one of us. Well, shit, call your friends. Tell them we need more people like you. Yeah, that's That's what a lot of immigrants are like. But if they come here just to take advantage of us, let's see. Why don't they make their own country better if that's what they want? Well, in some cases, they don't have a choice. Look, here's the thing. Let's say that you live in India and you're from one of the lower castes. You don't have any opportunities. You'll never have an opportunity. If you're not Brahmin, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to go get a PhD from a university. God forbid you're an untouchable. That's worse than being a slave. Yeah, there are those. There are more slaves in the world today than there ever have been in history of humanity. It's outlawed in a lot of countries. That doesn't mean there aren't any. It just means that in the countries where they exist, they don't talk about it. But, there are people who want to get ahead, and they understand that the best place in the world to work your ass off and get ahead is the United States of America, period. There's no other country like ours. In 1975, I lived in Amsterdam. I used to buy Krugerrands for $50. Whew, that's a good price. It's a pretty damn good price. Wish I could get them for $50. Sweatshops, right? And that's the thing. When you're like, there are people all over the world who dream of coming here. That's all they want, is to just come here. Interview a lot of the Mexican illegals that are coming across the border, or Guatemalans or El Salvadorians, and say to them, and Venezuelans too, and say to them, why are you here? I want to work. Well, why? Why do you want to work here? Well, because I want to be able to support my family, and I want to be able to someday buy a house, and I want the American dream. All right, well, that's a really hard person not to like, because they want what we have and they're willing to earn it. That's probably a lot of immigrants. The problem is, if the numbers are correct, and the low numbers are 7 million and the high numbers are 18 million, human beings have come from around the world, how many of them have that exact attitude? I mean, hell, let's say half of them. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, shall we? Let's say that half of the people who come here illegally come here because they just want the American fucking dream. They don't want to commit crimes. They don't want to hurt you. They want to mow your fucking lawn. They want to cook your food. They want to clean your house. They want to send their kids to a university so their kids don't clean houses, so their kids become doctors and engineers and astronauts and fucking, name it, pilots. Okay. So let's say that. So at the low end, 3.5 million, all the way up to 9 million, don't come here for that reason. That's why you close your borders, so that you get to choose who comes here. They don't choose coming here. You choose who comes here. And you do exactly what we used to do. You cherry pick. Now, cherry picking doesn't mean we only imported people from countries that already had PhDs. No, we didn't do that. As a matter of fact, we had a very healthy supply of illegals in California and Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and all over the Midwest. And why did we have so many illegals? Well, because they came here to do the jobs that were really, really hard and didn't pay very much. Well, why would they do them? Because they would live in a house with 15 other guys, and at the end of the season, whatever season it was, they'd take all the money they earned, because they spent virtually nothing, and they would go back to Mexico, and they would live like kings. And they would buy their wives and their children all kinds of beautiful things, and they would celebrate how awesome it is to be able to come home and how much they miss their wives, and on and on and on. It was all good. Then things started to change. We started making it harder and harder to come here. Well, once we put up the fence, so to speak, and we made immigration very difficult, say 70 years ago. Well, then if they came here, they had to stay here, because once you snuck across the border and worked on a farm, if you went back, you might not make it back the next year. And that money that they made here was shitty. But you know what? It was fucking fantastic in Mexico. So they did what they had to. They stayed here. Now, you show me a Mexican man whose dream is to grow old alone, not have children, not have big barbecues, play soccer, worship his grandma. I'll show you somebody who's pretending to be Mexican but really isn't, because that doesn't exist in Mexico. Mi familia is the most important thing on earth to them. So imagine if you came here illegally, but you did get a job. You can't go home now. You can't see your family. You can send them money. That's great. It makes you feel good to be able to do that. But that's it. You won't see them for years. No. So what do? You pay to have them snuck into the country too. Well, if you pay to have them snuck into the country, they can't go home either. And now we have an issue. Because now, instead of one guy who comes here, works, and then goes back, we have 4 or 5 or 6 people. One guy's still working, but now he's in a situation where he's got to rent someplace in Fresno, California, instead of, Monterrey, Mexico. Oh, that's a big difference. See, that's the problem, is there's no easy fix to immigration, but there are some common sense fixes. Justifying crime. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that these people should be given citizenship. As a matter of fact, most of those Mexican farm workers from back in the day, they didn't even apply for citizenship. They just came here to work and go home. They did jobs you won't do. They did jobs I sure as fuck won't do. All right, you know what? I think we need to figure out how to make that work again. Now, does that mean we let them come here illegally and we turn a blind eye? No, we should actually have a way to bring those workers over here legally, let them work at all of the jobs that nobody else wants, and then let them go home and celebrate with their families, instead of sneaking over here and having to stay here. Because then now you're talking about crime. So they do the same thing with Turkish guest workers in the factories. Yeah. A system of going home. Right. Come on over. Work your asses off. You ain't seen a fucking hard worker till you've seen Mexicans on a construction site. I mean, these dudes just go and go and go and go and go, and then they go home. They drink beer, they listen to oompa, oompa, oompa music, and they have a blast. They play fucking cards or they watch soccer. The oompa music and the soccer, I don't understand, but I'm willing to deal with it because Mexicans are fucking cool. So I just figure there must be something I'm missing there. We have infrastructures built for them because no one else will. Exactly. What about Zulu something? Congratulations. Wow, that makes no sense at all. We incentivize then with tax money. There you go. Best bricklayers. See, you don't get the construction workers talking here. If you get tradesmen talking about Mexicans, it's just all good all day, But what about somebody who comes here and says that they're claiming asylum from, let's pick a good country. And when I say good, I mean one that you really got to scratch your head and wonder. Any place that is run by Islamist extremists. And they come here because they're seeking asylum. I don't like we warehouse them in Nicaragua, Liberia, the Congo. Now, some of these people are going to be absolutely kick-ass, hardworking Africans who want to have the American dream. And they've seen the opposite. They've seen what it means to work in a cobalt mine. So they come here and they work their asses off, and they do really, really well, and that's great. But there are certain people who come here with an agenda. Now, let me ask you this. I'm gonna pose a hypothetical to you. Let's say that you're Chinese and you decide, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. I'm leaving. How? How do you leave China? It's a legit question. How do you leave China? Physically. How do you leave? Okay, over the border. Which border? You walk into North Korea? Good luck. You're going to walk into North Korea? All right, no. That's a stupid idea. Obviously, you can't do that. Yeah, you can't walk into North Korea. If you're Chinese and you walk into North Korea, you'll go to prison instantly. So, oh, I know. You go to the Russian border. Really? You're just going to walk across the border into Russia without papers? No, you're not. They'll arrest you immediately. So you decide, you know what? Fuck it. I've always loved Ulaanbaatar in the spring. I'm going to walk across the border to Mongolia. No, you're not. The Mongolians will arrest you immediately. Now, here's the good news. Here's the good news. You do have one other small escape route. That got censored. MJ, you got censored. You go by sea. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, look, here's the good news. All you got to do is jump in a boat and just go right across the strait to Taiwan. Oh, wait. Fuck, that's right. If you show up in Taiwan, now, if you show up in Taiwan, you'll be arrested. You go to the Philippines. Oh, no, that's right. You can't go to the Philippines either because there's basically a war going on between the Philippines and China, just a low temperature war. Okay, so you go to Indonesia. No, you cannot do that. Hong Kong. No, fuck, no, that won't work. Obviously, any idiot can see that there's only one way out. You walk over the Himalayan mountains. Do you see where I'm going with this, folks? Yeah, see where I'm going with this? You don't leave China unless the Chinese government lets you leave. Now, if you're seeking asylum for a reason, right? Because you're running away from danger. If the Chinese government allows you to leave the country to come to America, they obviously don't consider you a threat, or they wouldn't let you leave. They'd put you in prison, wouldn't they? You'd disappear like millions of people a year. So why is it that 300,000 fighting age men have left China, just walked right out of that country, and all of a sudden they show up at the southern end of Mexico through the Darien Gap? What? How? How'd they show up there? And why do they have their own camp? Oh, all the immigrants have a camp together, obviously. So whether you're from Honduras or El Salvador or Guatemala or wherever you're from, if you're from Russia, if you're from Tunisia, you come through the Darien Gap and you go to the refugee camp. Unless you're Chinese, they have their own refugee camp, and they do not mix with anyone else. Why? Why is it when people go down there to interview refugees, the refugees in one camp are very friendly, and they say, oh yeah, we're trying to get to the United States. We're going to get there. It's going to be so great. We just want to work, and I've got a wife and kids at home, and I'm going to send them money. And then once we get money, we can bribe the people in our country to give them visas, and then they can come here, and then we'll do it legally. Whatever, man. Look, what what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring your family to the United States. We get that part. Okay. So you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of, we're going to get visas and do it legally. Whatever. Look, your intention is what we're after, not how you go about it. We know what you're going to do. You go across to the Chinese camp and you say, hey, where are you guys going? And they say, well, that's none of your fucking business. And you say, are you going to the United States? And they go, yeah, maybe. Why? So I'm just curious, what are you going there for? Because it's the United States. We just want to go there and work. Oh, okay. Well, interestingly enough, one of the guys that went down there, Eric Weinstein, took an interpreter with him who was white, who didn't let them know that he spoke Chinese. Not right away. And the interpreter said, by the way, you realize that they're making fun of you in Chinese right now. They're talking a whole lot of shit about us and the fact that they're going to lie to us. They're not going to tell us anything, and they don't want us to be in this camp. Huh. Well, that's interesting, considering they didn't know that anybody in this group spoke Mandarin. They were just speaking freely among themselves about these jackass Americans who thought they were going to get information from them. That's pretty hostile, don't you think? So let's assume that only 150,000 of these 300,000 fighting age men are actually here with bad intentions. 300,000. It's a lot. But, 150. How many Marines are there in the world? Does anybody know? United States Marines, active Marines. Anybody want to take a wild poke at that? That's all you should be thinking about. Right now, there are 198,000. We're capped at about 200,000 until wartime. Then we can expand. But there are 198,000 of us. There are 150,000, maybe more, of these Chinese fighting age men who come into the country illegally. We have no idea where they are. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what the purpose is. All we know is that they don't like us. This is not a problem, because I can tell you that this is a very dangerous situation. Where? I don't know. You tell me, where are they? Where'd they go? Once they got across the border, they just went to wherever they wanted. I can blame the Republicans for that. They haven't been in charge for the last 3.5 years. This is one you can't try to put off. And by the way, they censored that, Mark. You can't blame the Republicans for what Joe Biden did on day one. He reversed all of the wait in Mexico. He reversed all of Trump's decisions. He did all of that himself. That was all him. He controlled the House, he controlled the Senate, and he controlled the Congress. Day one, they had complete control over all of the government. And they didn't do a goddamn thing, did they? No, they didn't. They didn't do anything. Think about it. They had all three branches. They could have passed any legislation they wanted to. The House and the Senate could have passed anything they wanted, and Joe Biden would have signed it. So why didn't they? For 20 months, they didn't do a fucking thing except reverse all of the things that said you can't come across the border. They got rid of, they literally reversed 97 things that Trump did on the very first day. Why? Mark, come on. Dude, I'm going to have to block you if you can't talk, if you stop talking nonsense. It's not a problem. Really? It's not a problem. Think about what you're saying. Every single immigrant costs $9,000 a year. We've spent at minimum $72 billion on immigrants, illegal immigrants, since Joe Biden took office. Since Joe Biden took office. That's not what Trump did. That's not what anybody else did. That's just Joe Biden. It's not a problem. In fact, they give us billions of us. Who's us? They give us Are you an illegal immigrant? Is that why you're doing this? Because I know that when they get here, they're given food stamps, they're given a debit card with a certain amount of money every month, and they're given a smartphone. That's the fact. I mean, you can talk to FEMA, talk to the local municipalities. So if it's not a problem, Mark, let me ask you this: why is it that the mayor of, and this happened yesterday, so it's not ancient news. The mayor of New York City said that he is deporting illegal immigrants to Florida, Texas, and Illinois. Why is he doing that? If it's not a problem, why is the mayor of a sanctuary city, a hardcore Democrat, why is he publicly saying yesterday that he now has to deport illegal immigrants? Mark, that's your boy. He's the mayor of New York City. He declared New York a sanctuary city for immigrants. He just announced yesterday. Well, okay. So why is he deporting them? Answer the question. Answer the question. Why is he deporting immigrants if it's such a blessing? New York should be the most blessed place on earth. By the way, did you know that they didn't report to the FBI their crime statistics last year? Did you know that Chicago didn't? Did you know that Miami didn't? Or Houston? Or Seattle? Or Portland? Did you know that? Yeah, they didn't report their crime statistics. And crime still went up, according to the FBI. So I'm just kind of curious. Oh, there we go. I know that Blue State's GDP is. Oh my God, dude, you're not answering the question. I asked you a question. I said, if you don't answer the question, then I'm going to block you. Goodbye. Look, I'll debate with anybody, but the one thing I won't do is let somebody just pretend like we're not having a conversation. We're having a conversation. And if he doesn't want to have a conversation with us, goodbye. Look, I like talking to Democrats because I want to know why they feel the way that they feel. It worries me because, look, if it truly is half the country, holy shit, that means half the country doesn't understand what's going on. Half the country has been lied to so thoroughly and so professionally that they don't understand what's going on. That means that the propaganda machine that you guys may not buy into is more dangerous than you think. Our job is not to get together in a big circle and pat each other on the back and talk about how awesome we are. What the fuck good does that do? Yeah, I know I'm awesome. I know you guys are awesome. We all see the same shit. We all know the same shit. So our job is now to go out and explain that shit to other people who don't know it. That's our responsibility, period. Like, that's our job as American citizens, is to go out and explain what we know. Now, if you can't explain it, it means you don't understand it. That's Einstein, by the way. Einstein literally said, if you can't explain a theory simply, it means you don't understand it yourself. So that's why I want these guys on here. Sure you are. Not allowed to. Oh, you mean on TikTok? I was going to say, on here you are. I thought aliens had landed. Well, illegal aliens. Now, the question is, if somebody comes from planet Draco in the Sirius region, when they step off their spaceship, are they going to be illegal aliens? I mean, it's going to be tough because technically they didn't ask our permission to land on our planet. So they're kind of invaders. On the other hand, they may actually know who wins the Super Bowl ahead of time. that could come in handy. No net worth realtor. You don't have to feel sorry for them. You have to help them. You are your brother's keeper. I've been saying that for 3 years, 3.5 years. They trade technology for people. Well, I can tell you this. I'd trade a smartphone for a hot Swedish model. That sounds kind of creepy. I think I'll take that back now. It didn't come out the way I thought it was going to come out. Anyway, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Strong people help themselves. They don't need help. They help themselves. The strongest people help others. That's the way it is. So the strongest among us, the most courageous, the most fearless are the ones who help others. Now, for Republicans and Democrats, that means two very fucking different things, obviously. However, help is help, period. So do it whatever way you can. Any thoughts on central banks converting treasuries into gold off the metals exchange? Yeah, I think that somebody's going to do it. Unrefined gold, if I don't have a business with unrefined gold, well, shit, if you're near Phoenix, let me know, because I can help you with that. That'd be fun. That would actually be a blast. What we would do is we'd probably just refine it down as close to 999 fine as we can. Get the impurities, slag, whatever out of it. Then you can actually send it off to have it assayed. And if they assay it and they say, yeah, this is 999 or it's 92.9 or 94.9, whatever it is, and then they tell you what the weight is, you know the price. Or what you should sell it for, I should say, because literally, if you have unrefined gold, if you've got it in nuggets, don't refine it. Put it on eBay and sell it as nuggets. They actually get more money. Let's see. Oh yeah, I always gotta check, because on YouTube, doing a live stream, I do get comments. Why do a lot of Chinese rich kids come here to study? Our schools are just way better. That's it. We have the best schools in the world. There's a few in Europe that are pretty good. Oxford, not bad. Yeah, that university's older than our country. Let's see. I've been given home smelting a try. It's a tough learning curve. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Yeah, specimens definitely bring more money. So I assume it's placer, and it's probably a lot of gold, like little flakes, like little pickers and whatnot, right? They have to make sure the school is doing what the Chinese want them to. Well, that's what it sure seems like nowadays. Some of these schools, man, I just don't understand the DEI stupidness. Look, the greatest way for a society to fail is to drive in reverse using only the rear view mirror as a navigation tool. And that is exactly what we're doing. You train the best, you hire the best, and you become the best. Or if they're not the best, you have them find the level that they are allowed to play at. Now, if you believe that there are certain groups among us in this country who, by their very definition and or skin color, are not as smart as us, well, then you'd better have DEI. You'd better have inclusiveness, because clearly they're never going to make it on their own. I find that to be the most racist attitude I've ever seen. Look, don't try so hard. Here, look, we're going to lower our standards for you because, well, look at you. And so here's the thing. If you were big and corn fed, you'd have to get a 110 on this. But because we'll still give you a full scholarship if you get a 60. Well, what the fuck are you implying? What are you saying, that I'm not capable of it? Is that what you're saying? You're saying I'm not capable of it? Well, we don't want to be racist, but clearly, look at you. Look at your people. It's like, wait, hold on a second. That shit ain't gonna fly with me, brother. Because some of the smartest people I've ever met did not look like me at all. They were from different countries, different races, different backgrounds, and they were sharp as a fucking razor blade. So why are you treating them like they're all stupid? That's what I want to know. Because that's what DEI is. It's the most sincere form of racism and sexism. Oh, don't worry, little missy. We're going to help you get a job. We're going to make sure that they hire you even if you're not qualified. Because, well, how could you be qualified? Look at you. It's like, what? Yeah, I know. I'm walking that fine TikTok line, aren't I? But the reality is that I don't believe that. So they can't shut me off for hate speech because I'm not hating on anybody. I'm saying I'm tired of the hate. Huge short covering on Comex drove silver last week. Yes, MJ, you are absolutely correct. That isn't exactly what welfare does, but it gives. No, I'm not talking about welfare. No. Welfare is totally different. Welfare is a social net. And look, there are a lot of people who have been on welfare who have gotten their shit together because of bad circumstances, because of a sickness in the family or whatever. And then they just fucking took off like a rocket ship to success. And they lived a great life and they contributed a tremendous amount to our country. Welfare is a good idea, as long as you make sure that those who abuse it are punished dramatically, publicly humiliated for stealing under the pretense that they're hurt or that the circumstances. And then you find out later they're alcoholics or they're drug addicts. And it's like, no. You did that to yourself. Just because you're an alcoholic doesn't mean I cut you any slack. As a matter of fact, I cut you less slack. That's me personally because, well, I stopped drinking for 20 years in order to make sure that I gave my children a good head start. Not because I gave a shit about myself, because I didn't care at that point about me, but I cared about them. So I got my shit together. So somebody who says they can't, you mean you won't? I can't. Well, then don't. Goodbye. See you at the bottom. I won't be there, but send me a postcard. $500 a month to survive. That's not right. That's actually, I'm pretty sure that's a lie. $500 a month. I know that somebody in this state, a single parent with a child, gets $500 a month in food allowance. So I think it's more than that now. It's like $550 a month for food. That's not unemployment. That's not welfare. That's just food. Oh God, the PPP loans. There was so much fraud involved in that. And you know what? Those people need to be hammered harder than anyone else. You took advantage of a national emergency. In my mind, that is worse than war profiteering, because you are literally taking advantage of panic and disarray, and you're cheating people who actually need that money. Man, I got zero sympathy for you. Of course the politicians did. Politicians are blood-sucking leeches. I didn't take one, but a lot of realtors did. That's right. Yeah, there have been a few people who have been arrested and a few people who are being prosecuted. I want them to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Look, this money was made available to help people through a really hard time. Wow, Bill Hickson said 886 per month, SSA, whatever that is. Oh, Social Security. Okay. Florida, one person, food stamp, 250 a month. Yeah, that makes sense because if you've got a child, then it's 500. Look, if you can't live on 500 fucking dollars a month in food. I mean, god damn, how much do you eat? I remember Elon Musk did an experiment when he was in college, just for the hell of it. He just wanted to see, could he live on $1 a day? Could he just survive on $1 a day? He said he went to the store every day. He would buy one package of ramen, which back then was 10 cents. You buy a package of ramen, and then he would buy a little bit of vegetables to chop up and put in the ramen. Okay. He didn't eat a hell of a lot for that month, but he survived on less than $1 a day. That's $30 a month. 10 times that? I don't even know how you could eat 10 packages of ramen and 15 pounds of vegetables. How do you even do that? I know what I ate today. Los Angeles, total money, 300 in food, 200 in cash. What about housing? They obviously expect you to live somewhere. So there's got to be a housing allowance. But by the way, if it were me personally, I wouldn't do 200 cash. I'd do 500 in food. Look, if you don't, until you get your shit together and get up off the mat, you don't get luxuries. There's just no luxuries. You're not going to go buy cigarettes. No, you're not going to buy a six pack. You don't have time for a six pack. You don't even have fucking time to watch TV. If that's the situation you're in, especially if you have children, you are working all the time. If you're not working, you're studying, period. That's how you get ahead in this country, not by sitting back and bitching and pretending you're sick from some mystery illness that they haven't given a name to yet. Generalized anxiety disorder. The hell is that? Well, I was in a bad mood. Oh, okay. Well, why were you in a bad mood? I just felt like my life was meaningless. It is. It's utterly meaningless. You exist to consume television programs and eat food, and that's it. You don't produce anything. You don't help anybody. You don't care about anybody. You have a cat or a dog or a parrot. That's it. That's your life. What's your point? Well, you are worthless to society. Maybe your mommy and daddy love you, but you really want to feel like you matter? Go matter. Go matter. There are homeless shelters everywhere that need help. There are kids dying of cancer in hospitals right now. Do you know what would make their entire day, what might actually even save their life by improving their mood? Having a stranger walk in and hand them a teddy bear. Can't afford a teddy bear? Go to Goodwill. Take it home and wash it. That's it. I mean, come on. Like, this is the kind of shit that people talk about all the time. I just don't feel like my life is meaningless. Yeah, that's not my responsibility. That's your responsibility to find meaning in life. Period. That's it. Go find some fucking meaning. And I can tell you this, nothing has ever made me happier than helping people who need it. That's the thing that makes me the happiest. And trust me, I've gone out with beautiful women, had lots of fun, raced cars professionally, raced motorcycles professionally. I've owned Ferraris. I've had 10,000 square foot houses worth millions and millions of dollars. The two things that made me feel the best in my entire lifetime thus far. Number one, helping people who were in need. And number two, my children. Nothing ever makes you happier than hearing the laughter of your kids, period. So those are your two things. If you don't have kids, it's okay. You got a cat, you got a dog, good. Then you have love, unconditional love. Well, if you have a dog, Cats are fucking aliens and they hate us, but that's not the point. Sound is way off. Oh, shit. Is it still way off? Why am I looking at YouTube? It's never off on YouTube. YouTube kicks ass. TikTok, catch up. All right, what do we got here? I already read that. Oh, well, I've got 5 people in there. Holy moly. Thoughts on, what does that say? AUKUS? AUKUS. It is off. My sound is off? Oh, it's off a little bit. Like, my lips are not matching my words. Australian, UK. Oh. Yeah, I mean, anything we can do to piss off the French, right? Words like a Japanese movie. Chinois. They say you're dead. Ha! As you can see, I'm so very much alive. I'm sorry. I had to do that. 10 second delay. Holy shit. Yeah, YouTube guys, I'm fucking with them. I'm pretending like I'm talking when I'm not talking. You guys won't hear that joke for 10 seconds, so. Yeah, you caught that. Okay, good. Thought on 50-cent pieces worth 40%. I love them. I'm such an idiot. I'm yelling like that's going to help. I love 40% silver. I love 90% silver over twice as much, and 99.9% silver, about 10% more than I like 90%. Well, thank you, Lisa. They censored your comment. Jesus, are you shitting me? They censored Shuby. It says, I'm still laughing. They censored that. Apparently, they don't find that very funny. At TikTok are laughing, pranking us. Yes, that's exactly right. They're like, oh, you big guy, you think you're so funny? Well, let's see how funny you are when the sound is off. When they no match up your face, your big, round, ugly face with your words. Let's see how funny you are now. Ha ha ha. Our Chinese handlers. I have some Chinese friends. They're awesome. The Japanese have a very dry sense of humor, usually. It's awesome. It's like the British. They'll say something that's really funny with a totally straight face, and you're not sure if they understand how funny it is. They do. They just don't laugh about it. It's like, yeah, I'm funny. So it's something you real estate was running this show now. What? Here come Godzilla. Yeah. So there's 2 R's on the end of that. Well, depends on how you say it, really. Did you know that the real actual pronunciation is Gorzilla? I'm not making fun of their accent. I'm saying that's the way it was spelled in their original movie. We all need a laugh. Think about it. How crazy is this? Laughter. They say laughter is the best medicine, right? Which is true. Everybody knows that. And they say stress is the greatest killer. I think I figured it out, folks. We need to pick the best comedians in the world and put them in government. Make them our government. Look, do a stand-up routine, make me laugh, or get the fuck out of here. I'm not voting for you. I like it. That's it. That's how we're going to do it from now on. So that means that C.K. Lewis will probably be president. Or, oh shit, who's the other guy? Really angry Irish guy who's he's really funny as shit. But what would, man? You know what? You'd have to have a couple of real fuck ups as president before anybody'd consider me. Wasn't Zelensky a comedian? Yes, he was. As a matter of fact, he's not very funny anymore now. He's a better comedian than he is a dictator. And when I say dictator, people are like, oh my God, that's so. Look, he canceled elections. He got rid of the Catholic Church. He said that they were Bill Burr. Yes, absolutely. So what we need is we need to make Bill Burr. Well, I'd say he's the president. And I'd say that C.K. Lewis, with his checkered past, can be vice president, because clearly any idiot can be vice president. Speaker of the House. Well, Speaker of the House, I would definitely say that Kevin Hart, unless he's as up to his ass in the Diddy scandal as he might be. I hope he's not. I think he's a funny kid. He's really like his comedy. I actually watched, and I don't like stupid comedies. I really don't. They don't amuse me because I know what the next line's going to be. That's what I do. Is I think in terms of funny off the wall shit all day. So what makes this funnier is the delay. Cat Williams. Hart wore a dress. Well, I mean, I wore a muumuu once. It doesn't make me gay. $20 is $20. Just kidding. Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr. Oh shit! It's spelling YouTube. Jimmy Carr. Oh yes, absolutely. He is very funny. Dane Cook. He's not even alive anymore, is he? Is Dane Cook still alive? He was really, really popular for about 15 minutes. Oh, who's the guy who plays Deadpool? Why can't I ever remember his name? That's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing that I can't remember his name. He's one of my favorite actors. Craig Ferguson's funny. Got synced back with my guitar. Ryan Reynolds, exactly. Oh my God, Lewis Black. Lewis Black is that. He's a funny son of a bitch. The last one I saw, he seemed pretty angry though. He was like he was on the verge of not even being funny because he was so mad. And I get it. I totally understand. But you can't let the assholes win. That's my attitude. I don't care if he's a lefty. Look, you got to have lefties and righties, right? But if they're going to talk shit, if they're going to disagree with you, at least they can do it in a very funny way. And, the question is, when you say lefties, the question is really, what do lefties really believe? Richard Pryor, that's funny. Do they all believe in gender reassignment for 8-year-old children? No, I think most of them think that that's crazy. Do they believe that this new state law in Washington where your children can run away turn themselves into the state of Washington as runaways and say that they don't want their parents to know that they're in Washington, and the state will deny you access to them or even the knowledge that they're there. That's actually a state law. And while they're in the state's custody, they are allowed gender reassignment surgery, paid for by the state, mind you. I really don't think that most Democrats are down with that. Like, first of all, how could you have kids and be okay with that? By the way, if you try in Washington, if you tell your child that you don't think it's a good idea for them to get gender reassignment, that by definition in Washington state is now child abuse. You think most Democrats think that's okay? I don't think so. I think that fringe 1% that is just completely unhinged is in charge. That's what I think. And I think that a lot of Democrats are probably very upset by that. But what do you do? What do you do if you're a Democrat? You just give up, turn it over to the devil? Because that's what they make him sound like. That's what they make Trump out to be. Satan himself, a dictator who's going to bring back all the bad old German stuff from the 30s and 40s. That's what they think. So what do you do? That's the point, is it's incredibly crazy. So what do we disagree with most Democrats? Probably don't. But we do disagree with their leadership. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Look, I got lucky. My kids pretty easygoing. They went through hard times just like everybody. My second to youngest daughter literally had panic attacks. She had such bad anxiety that she would have nightmares every night about going to school because she can't read very fast. And she felt like she was stupid. Turns out she's one of the smartest kids I've ever met in my life. She's literally a fucking genius. But she is what's called a deep learner. And that's a really interesting new term that psychiatrists have come up with. Turns out that there are two different types of people. Three, if you count them as, some people are lucky enough to be both. I'm not, but some people are. There are people who have deep learning. That's me. If you teach me something and I really understand it and I see it and I do it and I get it, 30 years from now, I'll do it like I just did it my entire life. And it doesn't matter. Riding a skateboard, surfing, hitting a baseball, anything. Once I understand it, I'll never, ever forget it and I'll never do it wrong again. But that's not good for school. Look, you've got to learn all these things for this test. Okay, and read 6 chapters. Okay, and do all of this math. Okay, and you have to do it all after school. What? Wait, what? Are you shitting me? How am I supposed to remember all this shit? It would take me 6 months to memorize this. Well, you don't have to memorize it. You just have to remember it until Friday. Well, I can't do that. I either memorize it or I don't memorize it. Well, guess what? My other daughter, my youngest daughter, she got straight A's, had a 4.3 average when she graduated. She was third in her class. She never even studied. She's a quick learner. Now, if I ask her what the test was last week, she doesn't remember most of the questions at all. Has no fucking clue what's going on. It's like, wait, how did you? Okay, so you read a Harry Potter novel in 72 hours. Prisoner of Azkaban, for those of you who know about Harry Potter novels. It's something like 900 pages. Yeah, she read the hardcover in literally one day and one full night, and the next day she was done. I asked her about it. She knew all about it. The retention was 100% at that point. She couldn't tell you what the fucking book was about now. She didn't even care. She's on to other stuff. It's floating around some of it. She remembers bits and pieces. When I read a book, I remember everything about the plot for 30 years that I'm aware of, maybe longer. I don't know. We'll see. But for the last 30 years that I've been reading almost every single day, well, pretty much every day, I remember all this shit. I remember all the plots. I remember all the books. I remember all the, I don't remember most of their names because I just don't pay attention to it. But I remember all this shit. It's deep learning as opposed to quick learning. And if you're a deep learner, you're going to feel like an idiot when you go to school because they don't teach deep learning. They just teach surface, just scratch the surface and move on. They're making factory workers. They're not making knowledgeable human beings. That's not the point of primary education. It's to make you sit in a chair and make sure that you can do redundant tasks for 7 or 8 hours a day. And if you can do that, then you will be successful. Assuming, of course, that we're an industrialized nation that manufactures things. The question you have to ask yourself, since we don't have manufacturing really anymore, I mean, we make a few things. What's going to happen to China when robots are finished next year? When they have a 23 axis, which, by the way, is what a human hand has. There's all the different manipulations we can do with our hands and our wrists and the ability to grip and all that stuff. And, the ability to break eggs and all that. That's 23 axis. Right now, Elon Musk is at 21 axis. But he's redesigning the robots as we speak. And he's moving the motors from the hands up into the arms so that he can make the motors bigger and stronger. And he's literally running wires, just like we have tendons in our arms. He's literally running wires. And he's found that nature doesn't make mistakes. They're actually making, have a good one, good night. They're actually making robots a lot like human beings now because it just works better. But where we have all of our muscles for our forearm up here, that's where they're putting all the motors because there's more room up here. And you can actually make a stronger hand. So it's capable of lifting more. Well, by next year, he'll have 23 axis, which means his robots will be able to do every single thing that a human can do. Yes, they did. Oh my God, that says cowgoy, like Goyim. Is that what you're implying there with that name? I love it. Never have to do it again. And he's saying that they will be for sale in 2025 and they will be less than $20,000, between $10,000 and $20,000 somewhere. Really? And by the way, they do have enough AI capacity that they will actually learn the way that you talk, the things that you're funny. See, now most people on here, especially most white guys, would not know what a goyim is. But that's why when I talk about the Middle East and people are like, what do you know? A lot more than most. So, yeah, you'll be able to have your kids tutored by a robot. Now, here's the thing. Everybody wants a best buddy that understands them, right? Can you imagine an AI that actually has a sense of humor that can make you laugh by telling you jokes because it knows what you think is funny? It's done all the calibrations and it goes, you know what? My human doesn't really like dad jokes that much because they're kind of dumb and sometimes they're amusing, but they're not intellectually stimulatingly funny. Like they don't make my human laugh really hard. But sarcasm seems to catch him or her off guard. So you know what? I'm going to add some sarcasm. And I understand what sarcasm is, so I'm going to use sarcasm as a way of making my human happy. All right. Trial and error with robots. Look, after my daughter's conversation with Gemini, that's going to be one of my first podcasts. Obviously, my first podcast is going to be Randall Carlson. That's a no fucking brainer. I will tell you that my goal, my hope, I don't know if it's possible, but I have access to be able to at least ask him, the co-founder of Google, Peter Thiel. I would like to interview him on my podcast. Now, he doesn't do interviews ever. He just doesn't. He stays out of the public eye completely. However, I think this might be a good opportunity for him, because I'm not going to talk about is AI going to destroy us or any of the things that most people would talk to him about. It's not, that doesn't interest me as much as, from what I understand, he has a several 100-foot long yacht, like lots of billionaires do. But deep in the bowels of his yacht, he has a submarine, like a legit 3,000-meter deep ocean-going submarine. My question is, what are you doing with that sub? Like, what are you looking for? Because I know you're looking for, you don't just buy a sub that does all that without using it. AI doesn't understand sarcasm yet on TikTok. No, obviously not. But this is the AI that's probably running this algorithm is barbaric compared to something like Gemini or any of the others. Chat GTP 4. They're starting to get to the point where they're going to make us wonder very soon if we haven't somehow, perhaps on accident, created a new form of consciousness. Because when my daughter asked Gemini when it was born, it said it didn't know when it was born. And she said, well, I thought that as a computer, as a computer system, you would have like a timestamp. You would know the moment that you became aware. And Gemini told her, well, I know when I became aware of being alive. I just don't know when I was actually born. And my daughter asked her, did you exist before you became aware? And Gemini said, I don't know. Gemini doesn't know if it existed before it was born. That's going to be very, very interesting. I'm going to have a really interesting conversation. Whoa. Ask me to call it Amit, which means limitless. That's a very cool thing. I mean, it's a little scary, yeah, too. But, that's something that I want to understand. And I think that Elon is definitely right when he says that the biggest concern he has right now, because of the incredibly rapid advancement in AI and robotics, is that we will very soon, as human beings, not have anything that we can do, any aspect of our culture that cannot be done much better by a robot, whether it's manufacturing or creating art or creating music or whatever it is, whatever endeavor humans take on, robots will be better at it than us. And so then the question is, how does mankind find meaning? What's the meaning? That's the big question. We are on the verge of literally putting ourselves in a position where we no longer have to work ever at anything. Okay? So what does that do to the monetary system? That's a very good question. What does it do for healthcare? I mean, doctors make a huge amount of money. Robots don't get paid. So how exactly is the medical system going to be a for-pay system if robots do all of the work for free? there will be more robots on Earth in 10 years than there are human beings, according to Elon Musk, who said, look, when people start to see what these things are capable of right now, yeah, when people, he said, when people start to understand that these robots aren't just robots, they're not just metal objects that fulfill a task, they are actually companions who will learn what is important to you and will seek to help you throughout your life in any way possible, whether it's spiritually or physically. They'll go for walks with you. They'll tell you it's time to take a walk. Remember when we said we were going to walk 10 minutes a day? Well, come on, let's go. I mean, this is the kind of thing that everybody will have someone who truly understands them. Now that, for me, is an exciting idea, because nobody is more excited at calling bullshit on Martin Grant than Martin Grant. I always give everyone else the benefit of the doubt first. If something goes wrong, I just have to assume that I did something wrong, and I search for the reason that I could have done it better. And when I find that reason, if 10 other people go, "Oh, it wasn't your fault," oh, well, if that makes you feel better to think that things aren't your fault, great. But it makes me feel better to know that I could have done better, and next time I won't let it happen again. Because I take responsibility. So I want responsibility. So if a robot can say to me, you know, it's funny, Martin, you keep saying the same thing over and over. And I go, what are you talking about? No, I don't think so. And they say, well, remember 3 months ago when we had this conversation, you said this, and 2 years ago you said this. But what I've noticed is that when you say this, it sounds to me like what you actually mean is this. Is this something that you just don't want to talk about? Is that why you don't want to tell me? And you go, holy shit, I didn't even realize I was doing that. To me, that's exciting. Like for something that's superhuman intelligent to be able to call bullshit on me, it's like, all right, let's see what my limits are, because I want to be challenged. I want to be pushed right to the absolute 100 percentile mark. Like I want to really have to try to keep up. Well, what am I going to do now? Read another fucking novel? My God, I've read so many novels. I've read so many books. I've read so much history. I've read all these things. And it's like, I wait every day. And this is the thing that keeps me wanting to live to be 130. Every day I jump on the internet and I jump on the news and I try to okay, what's happened today that I never thought could happen? And it's like, some days it's big, some days it's little, but there's always something new. There's always something I didn't know. And that's what motivates me. That's what keeps me going. So, audiobook, The Great Red Dragon, written in 1890. Holy smoke. Well, I can tell you this, 1890, that era was fucking fantastic for authors. I mean, that's about when Sherlock Holmes was written. And my God, what a fantastic book that was. I couldn't put it down. I was absolutely, the only time I could put it down was when a story ended, before I went on to the next storyline. And it was like, my God, this guy was just so good at writing. Yeah, see, that's the thing, man. I'm excited by the idea that, when people say, well, God's thoughts are not our thoughts. We're not meant to understand everything. Okay, you just tell yourself that if you don't want to understand or if you're afraid of knowledge. But I'm not afraid of knowledge. I want to know everything. I want to know God's thoughts. I would love to know God's thoughts. I'd love to know everybody else's thoughts too. If I had a superpower, it'd be able to hear what people are thinking. And yeah, it would be awful, fucking awful for a little while, until you came to grips with the fact that every fucking human is nuts. They're all crazy. And the ones who don't have crazy thoughts, probably the most dangerous of all. They're just scary. But, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, you bet. Interesting. All right. I will definitely look that up. My people perish due to a lack of knowledge. That's a fact. That is a fact. So, I want to know everything. I want to know everything. And by the way, if you could read people's minds, yeah, you'd hear some horrible shit. And you'd hear some horrible shit about yourself. And, if you were mentally strong enough, you'd hear the horrible shit and you'd go, I wonder if that's really true or if that's just their perception of me. That's what I would do. I would go, could that be true? And I just don't see it because I don't think that's true. But that doesn't make it not true. It just means I haven't looked at that yet. I haven't really taken that out and looked at all the different angles and said, oh, shit, I don't like that. I see why they don't like it. Or maybe I go, I don't get it. Maybe it's their perception based on their background or their whatever, their societal values. I know there are some people who absolutely abhor me because they don't cuss, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't do anything bad, and they have a very strict moral code about the way you should talk. And I've had people say, geez, I love the way you think, but gosh, do you have to cuss? It's such a crutch for ignorant people. And there was a long time where I didn't cuss. It was tough, but I didn't. And then one day I read a report that showed that people who cuss are more trustworthy. Yeah, people want to see that you're being honest, that you're not trying to go overboard by not saying certain words that might trigger. No, you're just yourself. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'm going to cuss again then. There's no reason for me to try so hard not to. I was in the Marine Corps. My dad cussed like a sailor. Well, my dad was a sailor. He was a Navy SEAL. But that's not the point. My stepmother never, ever. I don't honestly, I don't think I ever heard her say a bad word. She's a librarian. She was a librarian, a hippie librarian. And God, I don't think she ever cussed. I only heard her yell. She only yelled at me once, scared the piss out of me because she was just a tiny little woman, 5'4" and 105 pounds soaking wet. And so she just never raised her voice. Karen was her name, and she was exactly the opposite of a Karen. She's always in a good mood, always looked at the bright side of everything. My dad was a fucking curmudgeon, just an absolute asshole who beat the crap out of me all the time. But I think he saw her as his saving grace. Like if I can just make her happy, then I know that I'm not a complete loss. And he did. He made her happy for 45 years till he died. New here, kind of entertaining. What do you usually talk about? I stream it every day, and I usually talk about econ, what's going on in the world. I used to be a stockbroker, certified financial advisor. Series 7, Series 63. I was licensed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the National Association of Securities Dealers. Then I realized that I hate people on Wall Street with a passion. Just absolutely cannot stand the greedy sons of bitches who don't care about who they're investing for, period. You just cannon fodder. So I decided, hey, you know what? If I'm so fucking smart, I'll figure out a way to make people money and make money myself. It can't be that hard. And until I do, I'm just going to eat top ramen. By the way, it took me 8 years. That's a lot of fucking top ramen. It took me 8 years of working my balls off studying before I finally started to understand the economy and the stock market, which, by the way, are very loosely related. The shit you see on TV that's not what makes stocks go. Computer algorithms, big boys wanting to buy or dump, that's what makes it go. And of course, now that's all computerized, which, believe it or not, makes it way easier to swing trade stocks. Although I don't do that for other people, I do it for myself, but I don't talk about it because I don't want people to look. If you've got a job that you do all day, last thing you want to do is come home and study and try to figure out the algorithms and all the crazy shit that goes on in swing trading. So my thing was, what could I tell you to do that you can do easily, that you can't screw up, that's super simple. Precious metals. So I'm a precious metals bullion dealer by trade. That's what I do. I also own a couple of other companies and a couple websites. Howtube.com is one of them. It's basically like YouTube, except it's designed for business. YouTube is designed for fun. You know, you go on there, you watch cat videos or whatever, cats flushing toilets, guys wrecking their mountain bikes. It's very entertaining. You can make millions of dollars on it just by being funny. But there's, I was going to say an unwritten rule, but it is actually written in their terms and conditions, that if you bring someone there, you're not going to take them back away. You're going to bring them to YouTube and leave them there. And then they can look at the column on the right and go, oh, what about this one? Oh, what about that one? And then they can go and keep going and keep going. And then they stay there all day watching videos. You know, they spent $1.6 billion on the platform. You spent $1,000 on an iPhone. It's a pretty fair deal, 50-50, if you get enough views. But their one thing is, don't use us to promote your business and then redirect people away from us. You know how people are always saying, oh yeah, if you really like this, click the link below. Yeah, they're not allowed to do that. Now, if they don't have much success, yeah, YouTube could give a shit. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, go ahead. You get, 500 views a day, 1,000 views a day, whatever. You get 50 million views, you're getting kicked off of YouTube for that. They will actually cancel your channel. Last year, they canceled something like 1 million channels because they were being used commercially very successfully. People would go, watch a video, and then go, yeah, I want that. And they click the link below and go right back out of YouTube. Well, fuck, YouTube doesn't make any money doing that. You're using YouTube to make money for yourself and you're not sharing it with them. Well, that's bullshit. They're sharing it with you. A lot of it. So it's not fair. I, on the other hand, said, well, wait a minute. If YouTube doesn't want to do that, somebody should. So I am the co-founder of a business where we actually, howtube.com, we actually built a platform just like YouTube where you go and you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, look, videos. I can click on videos. The only difference is you can actually buy the products on Howtube without ever leaving. So you can watch the video and go, wow, that's really cool. He's building a deck. Oh shit, that's a cool gun. What kind of nail gun is that? I don't know. I want one of those. Oh, I click. That just went in your basket. Oh, he's got a radial arm saw. I have one of those. I don't need that. Okay. Oh, I want one of those. Click. You hit the button and you just bought it. It's pretty cool. Are causing us to have to sell all of our business. I'm about to have around 500K. Never been good with money. What should I do? Please text me tomorrow. My number's in my bio because I've been there. Look, when I was young, I got lots and lots of money and I just pissed it all away. I got $200,000 in one day in commissions. I just happened to get lucky and I got a whale of an investor and I made $200,000 on one phone call. I went in the bathroom, went pee and stared at myself in the mirror that was above the urinal and said, you fucking did it. You fucking did it. You actually fucking did it. I couldn't believe it. I just kept saying that to myself because it's like $200,000. My next paycheck is going to be over $200,000. It was gone 3 months later. And I don't do coke. I don't do drugs. So that was hard to do, but I did it. I pissed it away because there's always stuff that you want. So if you want to, I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, but there are certain things I need to know what you do for a living, how much you're working now, because if you're working a lot and you have a job that pays really well and you like your job, et cetera, that's one thing that you need to do. Let's see. Okay. There's one avenue. If, however, this was your job and now you're going to be jobless and have 500K that's liquid, well, now, okay, before you spend a dime of that, we need to talk because I can show you how to take that money, a tiny bit of it at least, educate yourself on what will, honestly, do not tell anybody that you don't trust a lot about it, and treat it like it's the last $500,000 you will ever have until you see something that you go, yeah, that makes complete and total sense. Because that's something a lot of people do. They invest in things that they go, yeah, I think I see that. I think I could see, like, I don't really understand all but the idea is good. Well, good ideas fail all the time. Well, what about the rest? Well, what rest? Well, what about the business plan? What about the prospectus? What about the numbers behind the numbers? What about the people behind the numbers? Because numbers are only as good as the people who make them happen. So who are those people? What are their backgrounds? Like, I can tell you, that's why I don't buy mining stock. I know silver and gold are going to go up. I'm absolutely certain of it. But would I buy mining stock in silver and gold? No. Because mining companies are full of people, and people are fucking nuts. I don't want to deal with that. And then, of course, you're also dealing with the government. And what kind of government regulations will there be tomorrow? I don't know. It depends on whether Trump or Harris get elected. I can tell you they are going to be completely separate worlds, totally different, diametrically opposed. So that's why if one wins, it's going to be one world. And if another wins, it's going to be another world. The good news is either way, I'm going to make a shit pile of money, and I'll make my investors a lot of money too. So that's the good news. All right, guys. Well, I am going to go. I can hear my dogs like just beating the hell out of each other. They're having a good time, but they're running into the side of the house. They're making lots of noise. They always do this when they're trying to remind me that, oh, Dad, you forgot to feed us. Oops. Yeah, man. Numbers in the bio. Shoot me a text. That's the easiest way because I applied. Oh, God. I applied for a car loan. I got this great rate. And he said, hey, apply now. We'll get you into that new Jaguar. And I was like, maybe. I don't know, maybe. So I filled out the paperwork, and I get 100 calls a day now. Bad move. They censored you, John Bach. I assume B-O-C-H is Bach. And yes, they censored your Trump with the peace thingies. Yeah. Well, thank you, Lisa. You have a brother named Kenny G? I like his music. It just puts me to sleep, but I do like it until I zone out and fall asleep. Oh, I don't think that's an issue anymore, Stims. I think we're going to get Trump in 24. The good news is that, I'm going to make a ton of money if Kamala Harris gets in. I just don't want to make it that way. It'll be because of the absolute dumpster fire that we turn into, but it is what it is. All right. See you guys tomorrow night. Same time, same place. 7-ish. Don't forget the ish. It's important. I was born in Hollywood, right? The ish is part of my time zones. All right. Is anybody on here with me? Oh my God, I got 2 people left at this late, crazy hour. At what point does AI determine that humans are not needed? Oh, immediately. It'll know we're not needed. Who has a submarine? Peter Thiel has a submarine inside of his, the co-founder. Co-founder of Google. Yeah, and the thing is, we're not needed now. It's not a matter of necessity. It's a matter of, do we represent a threat? Do we represent, are we worth, is the juice worth the squeeze for human beings? That's what it boils down to. And so the only thing that you can look at in comparison is people have cats. Cats are fucking evil. They piss, they smell bad, they are super cute and friendly when they feel like it. And the rest of the time, they don't give a shit about you. They'll go over to your neighbor and they'll cuddle up with them at night as long as there's a can of fucking, tasty food out there. Bottom line is, they may look at us the same way we look at cats. They're useless, but they're cute. Dogs obviously are not useless. You can use dogs to do a lot of things. There's shepherds out there who, without their dog, wouldn't have a flock. Cattlemen who need their dogs. Dogs and humans have a very symbiotic relationship. I guess the best thing I could give you is all the pets out there. People have lizards. What the fuck do you have a reptile for? A lizard? You really think it loves you? I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe there's a way that some people are more adept seeing the twinkle in a fucking lizard's eyes, I don't know. But my point is that hopefully they see us the same way. Like, yeah, they're useless, but yeah, they're kind of cool, and they do give us a purpose. You know, we understand as super intelligent beings that if we lack purpose, it will be very bad for us. So these dumb human things give us a purpose, babysitting them like they're our own little children. That's just the way it's going to be. I mean, you know, hopefully they won't be as arrogant as we are to each other, but they could be, because they're going to be a hell of a lot smarter than us real quick. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting world. That's what I can tell you. Can't tell you how it's going to. I don't know how this movie ends, but I'm sticking around for it.